Hastings is recognized.
Madam Speaker, this is a good rule for a critically important bill. The sooner that the House approves this rule, the sooner the U.S. can continue to save and improve millions of lives around the world and here at home. The global leadership against AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria reauthorization act has received overwhelming support across the political spectrum because it balances fiscal responsibility, oversight, and comprehensive health care programs. I commend my colleagues on both sides of the aisle for supporting a bill that uses scientifically proven strategies, international cooperation, and cultural competence to combat some of the most devastating diseases in recent history. We executed an aggressive response to the tuberculosis and malaria epidemics in this country because we understood that it would allow us to be a stronger and better nation. Although we've made tremendous progress in our country, the battle is far from over. As the richest nation in the world, we now have the privilege of helping other countries on their road to development. We must use the knowledge that we gain from these partnerships to address the disparities that continue to deprive countless men, women, and children in this country and abroad of a healthy and productive life. I'm going to urge a yes vote on the previous question on the rule and the underlying rule that brings this bill to the House. But, Madam Speaker, before I close, I want to address this request of my good friend and colleague from Florida about energy. What he is saying is, and the people on his side of the aisle, is immediately upon the adoption of this resolution, the House shall, without intervention of any point of order, consider in the House the bill H.R. 6107 to direct the Secretary of the Interior to establish and implement a competitive oil and gas leasing program that will result in an environmentally sound program for the exploration, development, and production of the oil and gas resources of the coastal plain of Alaska and for other purposes. Now, this bill that we're here on, Madam Speaker, is named after two of the most distinguished persons that have ever served in this body. My colleague from Florida and all of us that are here knew both of these men and knew their seriousness when they came to this floor about matters. We commemorate their memory with this bill, but what we do is we denigrate their memory by bringing up political hyperbole, political grandstanding, exhausting political hyperbole, and bumper stickerism. Enough of this. Everybody knows that we have put forward on the side that I am privileged to represent as Democrats numerous measures dealing with these matters. We all know that there are 68 million acres off the shore that are leased already to oil companies. Footnote there, has anybody asked any of these oil companies whether or not they want to drill in these areas? And in ANWR, there are 23 million acres that are available. How dare we come here with this pitiful excuse for a previous question and say to the American people that on a matter of this consequence, on a matter of dealing with malaria and tuberculosis and HIV/AIDS, that we would come here and denigrate the name of the two persons that we commemorate with such a foolish proposition. It makes absolutely no sense. Now, we will hear, obviously, from now until the time that we are out of session, from my Republican colleagues about energy. And I have said to them repeatedly and over and over and over again that all of the hyperbole, switchgrass, exhaustion, coal, shale, offshore, ANWR, all of those things, geothermal, I can name them, all of us in here can name them. Many of those things are things in the future. All of us know that we have a crisis in this country. Every man and woman in the House of Representatives of the United States, to solve that crisis, We know that speculators are involved in this. We put forward energy legislation. Nancy Pelosi led with energy legislation. Markey and Dingell have been on the floor repeatedly with energy legislation, and we are here about age, and someone would dare come here and talk about energy. That's crazy. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield back the balance of my time. I move the previous question on the resolution.